Hello lovely people, I'm Catherine and welcome to this week's Park Home Life. Apologies in advance if I've got a bit of a sniffle, so if my voice goes a bit croaky or whatever. I think I mentioned on Monday that I was feeling tired, and I think that's why, because I had this coming on. It's nothing major, I'm absolutely fine. I'm still taking Stella for walks and, I'm fine, it's just a sniffle. Yeah, so this week the main thing I've kind of got to share with you is an exhibition that I went to see, in fact twice. It was worth seeing twice, but yeah, it's called Warped and Wasted, and it's at ACEArts in Somerton in Somerset, and it's by a group of artists called the Seam Collective, textile artists, and it highlights the problem of textile waste in the world that you may have heard me bang on about before if you've been here a while. The 92 million tonnes per year of textiles, largely from the fashion, from fast fashion, but other sources as well. 92 million tonnes per year that is just thrown away wherever. So this group of artists were challenged by that. I believe they had two mentors. I'll put you a link to their website, and they're also on Instagram. Seam Collective, I'll put that on the screen for those of you that have trouble finding the description box below the video. So yes, so they were challenged to work with only recycled materials, or materials that were biodegradable. And I think on the whole they used repurposed recycled materials, so either materials that they had already or materials that they rescued from, on their way to the bin kind of thing. And they did work together. I had a chat with Nina, one of the artists, yesterday. I'll tell you in a minute why I ended up going twice. I'll tell you now. Basically, I'm an idiot and I went on the wrong day. I'd arranged to meet two friends there for lunch to have a look at the exhibition and then have some lunch together. And so I went on Tuesday because that's what I'd written on my calendar. And I went in and it was very quiet. I was there, as the doors opened. So I made the video that I'm going to share with you in a little while. And then it got to like 11:30. And they still hadn't arrived, and I thought, well, that's strange, they're not, friends that are notoriously late. So I messaged one of them and she said, it's tomorrow, we're meeting tomorrow. So that's fine. I mean, it's only 20 odd minutes or so drive from where I live, so, it was no problem whatsoever. So I went back the next day and had another look at it, and I'm very glad I did, well, to have lunch with my friends, but also Nina was there, one of the artists, and she very kindly explained a lot of the background, the collaboration involved and how they'd hung it. You'll see in a minute when I show you the video that it's hung with it's repurposed guy ropes from tents. Excuse me. And the ACEArts is a vaulted building. It's upstairs. Is it a former corn exchange or something? I'm not sure. I'm making that up. But it's a very old building with a vaulted ceiling and beams, and the rescued from landfill tent guy ropes, yellow nylon, holding everything up from the beam. So everything's kind of free, not free standing, but free floating in the air, if you like. And that's what enables you to walk in it and among it and under it. And I talk about that a little bit when I share the video with you, how it feels to be within the artwork rather than an observer, and you're separate from it, if you understand what I mean. Yeah, so each of the artists worked in their own way. If they were a weaver, then they did weaving. If they were a knitter, then they knitted. If they were a stitcher, then they stitched. But Nina said that all the pieces of work, although they did work together throughout the process, so they were somewhat aware of what each other was doing, it wasn't until all the different pieces that everybody had made came together, and the team of them that curated it, that hung it, that worked out how to display it, that it all kind of gelled. And I thought that was a fascinating thing as well, rather than normally if you have, I've had some experience of having exhibitions but never doing an installation like that as a collaboration with other people. And there, it's already challenging to hang a group of people's work in a way that it complements each other, and everybody's work is displayed to the best possible way. But to create this kind of installation from 14 people's very different pieces of work, and for it to work so well, I mean, as an artist myself, I just found the whole process absolutely fascinating. So I hope you found that marginally interested too, otherwise you've all gone to sleep. But yeah, so I'll show you, at the end I'll share the little bit of video that I took. And I do encourage you, if you are in this area, to go and have a look. It's on, I believe, well into October. It's on for quite some time, and it's well worth a visit. Yeah, and the other thing I did, that was last Sunday, that I wanted to tell you about. I went to something called the Oak Fair, which is on here annually in Dorset, here in Dorset. And it's, as its name would suggest, largely concerned with crafts involving oak. But it's also a kind of country fair, you know, there were heavy horse displays and willow weaving and, you know, that kind of thing. Sorry, I've gone really croaky. So I met a friend there and her son and his wife, and it was a really nice day. It was warm, but it wasn't too hot. Well, it wasn't too hot for me, so probably not too hot for anybody. Mid-20s, I guess. Took Stella with me, she was good as gold. My friend had her little dog with her. Yeah, and we just enjoyed wandering around in the sunshine, chatting to people. A lot of the wildlife charities were there, you know, with their stands, the RSPB, the Woodland Trust, all those kinds of people raising awareness, which is great to see. I particularly liked an area where they were demonstrating Neolithic, I always get my lithics muddled up, very old, very old ways of doing things. So there was somebody, who made me laugh actually, there was somebody flint knapping, you know, making tools out of flints. So he was, and they were all dressed in kind of period costume, I guess. I mean, you know, I don't know if it would bear scrutiny by experts, but they looked vaguely right. But he was sat with a bit of leather on his knee, knapping flints, you know, making little simple axe heads and things. Stells, I need to wave my hands about to talk. I can't just always be stroking you. And then sat next to him, and then there was a young woman with him, I think his daughter, I had the feeling, who was talking to people, you know, and explaining, and she had some samples on the table in front of her, and she was explaining about sorry, the different kinds of flints and so on. And then sat behind her in a camping chair, I don't know if it was her brother or her boyfriend, but anyway, there was this young chap, I guess around 20, but you know, the older I get, the harder it is for me to judge people's ages. But anyway, he was on a, I want to say Game Boy, but I think that's really old-fashioned. Nintendo, you know, a thing, a game thing. And I just started laughing, because there's this guy dressed in vaguely Neolithic clothing, knapping flint, and then next to him there's this other guy who was kind of in, you know, all in black, a bit goth. Is that a thing still? Gaming on this thing. It was just like, yeah. And the woman, the young woman, sort of rolled her eyes when she realised what I was laughing at. She said, yeah, he's plugged into that day and night. And I said, yeah, but it's just the irony of him next to the gentleman knapping flints. So anyway, that amused me, if nobody else. And then there was another woman who was making beads. She was talking about pottery. And she had a few little beads that she'd made just simply by hand, and then I think they have been fired, and they were £1 or £2 each. So I was very drawn to them because they have big holes in for my hair. So I told her that, and I was going through because they were all different, and I said, do you mind if I try some, you know, before I buy, to make sure they fit. Trying to find, I got a faience one. Probably won't be able to find it now. So anyway, I got a couple. There were some sort of plain ceramic ones, and no, where's it gone? It was here somewhere near the front. Oh, there it is. Yes, did you see that? A hand behind, like they do, like the professional YouTubers do. It's faience, so it's, I don't know how faience is made. I'm not a potter, but it's blue and beautiful. And she said that faience has only been found in grave sites of a very few people, and usually only one per grave site, and that it is thought that it indicated a very high status person in the community, because it was probably quite difficult to produce. So I got that one, and I got a couple of just plain ones that I won't bore you by trying to find. But I think someone recently either gave me a super thanks here or on my Ko-fi and said it was for dread beads. So anyway, there they were. That was them. I got, in fact, I wanted to, there were 3 that I chose, and the lady only tried to charge me for 1, and I insisted on paying for the 3, so then she gave me an extra one as well. She wasn't very commercially minded, just my sort of person. Anyway, so that was a lovely chat. And then also along that line, I wished I'd taken video, but honestly it was so busy. You know, there were so many people, I don't think it would have been, you know, useful or entertaining for you to see necessarily. And also I had Stella, and it's very difficult to manage Stella and hold the phone with 2 hands to film. Yeah, but there was a lady with a peg loom, which was just a row of wood with some pegs in it, and then the warp was attached to the pegs, and then she was actually drawing raw fleece. She did say it had the lanolin taken out of it and it had been cleaned, but it was basically just the fleece. And she was drawing it and just snaking it around the pegs back and forth, and then when the pegs were full, she lifted the pegs out, slid it down onto the warp, put the pegs back in, and away she went again. So that was really interesting. I'd never seen that before. And then there was another couple of young guys who had made little fires in the ground. They'd lifted turfs and had little safe ground fires, and they, well, you know, safe as you can be, but being very careful. It's very hot and dry, and they had cuttlefish. I don't think bones is the correct term, but you know those white skeletons that are inside cuttlefish. I'm now thinking of the cuttlefish beak that my cousin and I had on our nature table when we were about 8 or 9. Up in our bedroom, or in her bedroom, but I used to stay there quite a lot during the summer, until her mum came in, my auntie, and said, "Girls, what is that reek?" And she found this cuttlefish beak. It was our prized possession in the middle of our nature table, labelled with where we'd found it and the date we'd found it and everything. And we didn't notice the smell, we just thought it was fascinating. Anyway, she threw it in the bin. But it wasn't, it was the white, you know, the white thing that people give budgies. So they were using that as a mould. And you could carve, and I spoke to a chap who was doing it, and he says it takes absolutely ages. If you want to do it, then you'd commit to, you know, standing here for at least an hour, just carving a little shape in the in the cuttlefish, and then the guy was pouring molten pewter. Would it have been pewter? I should have paid more attention, shouldn't I? Into the shape, and that's what the fire was for. And then you got this little thing that you'd made yourself. So that was cool. I don't know if that was traditionally done with cuttlefish, if they think that, or if it was done with other materials. But I did ask about the cuttlefish, and he said they were heat resistant. You could just keep using them until eventually they break, but you know, you could just keep using them. They don't catch on fire or anything. So then that led me to wonder, why would a cuttlefish skeleton be heat resistant? Because there's usually reasons for things. But you know, cuttlefish obviously lives in the sea, but fire resistant. I mean, anyway, if you're a marine biologist and you know where to tell me. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it really. I've got some other projects that I've started. I've started this. I do think I've talked about it a little while ago. This was 2 pieces of cloth. So this side is eco-printed. This was kind of my test piece to see if the leaves were ready yet, with a leaf or 2 from each species in the little local woods here. Stels, don't scratch me, boo, that hurts. Look, now she's made white marks on my arm. Doesn't really hurt. So that was that side, and then the other side, they're both old linen, and the other side is dyed with oak galls that I showed you last time, I think, that my friend Dottie gave me, you know, the little round galls. And this piece I've started stitching. I don't know if you can see. And I'm stitching from the brown side. Can you see? Can you see? And I'm using that blanket stitch that we've used. We used it on the coverlet of Comfort back in July with the hexagons. And we used it last year in the Stitch Journal for the theme of comfort, because blankets and comfort. But I'm using it here to represent the mycorrhizal networks that I've been banging on about lately. A couple of weeks ago in the Monday Journal I did a piece about the woods, you know, and the underground network of fungus in the woods. And then last month, this Monday just gone, I did a tree with a heart in it. You know, I seem to be, I think it's because it's autumn and I'm eco-printing. I mean, I'm always thinking about woods and trees, but this is a piece that I've had in mind for a while. It just occurred to me that it would be lovely to stitch, because I love stitching this stitch. So I'm just going to completely cover it with this stitching, and these are all my different natural dyed threads, because on the other side, the stitching, the blue is just basting. Just on normal basting, I didn't do invisible baste because it will be double-sided. But then on the other side, all you get, I don't know if it's showing up, but you just get these little radiating stitches on the back of that blanket stitch. So this will kind of be like the sunlight through the trees in the canopy, that represented by that, and then obviously that represents the mycorrhizal network under the floor, which incidentally makes hexagons because carbon. Talked about that before. So this, and I don't know how it's going to develop from there, but at the moment I'm just enjoying stitching on it because I needed another project because I was only down to 11 billion of them. Okay, so I think that's it. So I'll show you the video of the exhibition called Warped and Wasted by the artists of Seam Collective at ACEArts in Somerton. And then when you've watched that, I'll come back at the end just to say goodbye. So I hope you enjoy it. So I'm here at ACEArts in Somerton. I'm just going to focus on the details for a little bit so you can pause your screen and read if you would like. And now I'll just give you a little view of the whole space. Well, as best I can, because it's a huge installation. It absolutely fills the room. If you've been following me for a little while, you've seen this space before, this ACEArts in Somerton. This is where my friends Angela and Cara had their exhibition hanging by a thread last year sometime. So that's the kind of overview of it. I've got friends due any moment, so if they suddenly come up the stairs, I'll have to pause and come back to you. Just give you a little walk round through it. So these are all either reclaimed materials or biodegradable materials, highlighting textile waste, which I've talked about before, 92 million tonnes per year, which cannot be recycled, goes to landfill, globally that is. And here you see it made into art. Look at this chair. Like a rag rug. Oh, it's a weave, it's cloth weaving. It's a cloth woven deck chair. That's fabulous, isn't it? I won't sit on it, obviously. Going round slowly so you don't get dizzy. I actually saw my friend Angela yesterday and told her I was coming, and she'd already been and seen it, and she said it's joyous was the word she used. I think these are old socks, yeah. You can walk in it and under it. It's just wonderful. That's garments, pieces of clothing. And that's a knitted kind of rug, I guess. I'm just trying to give you all the different views. And there's rugs there all woven together with some other, I don't know what that yellow stuff is. It looks like webbing or something. And look at this chair here. I think the back there is made like you make rag rugs. Squeaky floor. This is very striking, all the black cloth. And here's kind of a little hammock with all kinds of yellow coming out. This is for you, Jerry, if you're watching. Jerry Bellini loves yellow. And that up there, that sculpture, that's a couple of the artists chatting in the background. Go slowly round.
so you don't get seasick. I'm leaning right back and craning, so if my voice sounds funny, it's because my head's right back. That's the other side of that rug, look, with all the ends hanging. Fabulous. Well, rug, knitted, you know, the thing that was knitted. Doesn't need a name, does it? It's just gorgeous. Let's go in for this for a little bit more. So this installation was created by the whole group together. So it's really a collaborative effort. And this group is a group whose work I admire very much, Seam Collective. Do check out their website. I can kind of see mushrooms in that. I don't know if they're supposed to be there or if it's just me. Well, supposed to be. You know, you can see what you like, can't you, in art? Just me, because I've been looking at mushrooms a lot lately. So much to see in every direction. And that's what I like about these kind of installations that you walk through, rather than it being a gallery with, you know, disparate pieces, one piece after another. You look at them all individually. With an installation like this, you really become almost part of it for the while that you're viewing it. And you can see it from all different angles, and it encourages you to move around through it. Some little things on the floor. Are they crocheted? I think they're crocheted. And a great big chain, sort of chain crocheted out of wool. We talk about a crochet chain, don't we? And that almost looks like a real chain, only it's yarn. So here's another. I'm going to go up. I'm going to show you up. Right up into the rafters. And there's a man coming up. It's not one of my friends, but someone else. I'll show you these letters. Be respectful of the man and not get him in. Yep. So that spells out, get the camera up, Catherine, stitched together. There's lots of people coming, so I'll end off now. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, I filmed a bit more, but I'm back home now, so I'm doing this as voiceover because a lot of people came in and they were chatting, as they're obviously allowed to do. But I just wanted to show you these couple of pieces. Now I'm right under this. This is almost flat above my head. If you can imagine. You're obviously seeing it as if it's standing upright, but it's overhead. That first one with the grey background was all a plique. And this one here, I read in the guide, I don't remember the artist's name, but it's called Earth Skin. So this is also a plique and stitching, representing the fragile skin of Mother Earth. And I just love that one as well. And then this absolutely beautiful piece with all the eyelets, kind of like the sail of a ship it reminded me of, with those big grommets, eyelets, with the long strands weaving through some of them. And these were all little bundles of fragments of cloth. In the foreground here, they're all different colours, as you can see, all tightly bound together into little parcels. And then the other ones there behind, those are all woolly blankets all bundled up. So I thought they were really interesting. It looks upside down. Is it upside down? I think it is. I might have to turn the thing around. I think it's up. I've got it upside down. The bench is hanging from... I'll turn it so it'll be the right way up. Yeah, there's a man's feet. I'll turn it round before you see it. But yeah, I had it upside down, but you won't have noticed. Anyway, yes, I really hope you enjoyed the view of it. And if you're in the area, I do highly recommend you go and have a look at it in person. Obviously, filming it never completely does it justice. So yes, ACEArts in Somerton in Somerset.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, I haven't really got anything to add, but like I said, please do check out their Instagram and their website, and yeah, they're a really impressive group of textile artists, and they work as a group, but they also all work independently as well here and there. So if you want to look up any of the individual artists, I guess they've all got individual Instagram feeds and so on. So anyway, so thank you so much for watching. I'm going to have a very quiet day today. It's actually Thursday, so yesterday for you, because in the morning I've got someone coming to a part in my boiler needs changing. Luckily it's not very expensive, well, you know, not very expensive, it's 3 figures, but it's not, it could be worse. So I'm getting that done before the winter. But anyway, he's coming in the morning. I don't know how long he'll be. So rather than be worrying tomorrow that I wouldn't have time to do this for you, I'm doing it today. So I'm going to take Stella for a little walk, and then I think I'm just going to have a quiet day, do some stitching, probably listen to some more podcasts about woodlands, because that's the rabbit hole I'm in at the moment, down in the soil with the mycorrhizal networks. And thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to you joining me next time for more park home life tales. Lots of love. Bye bye.